All right, people, you wanted the best, you got the best. Ladies and gentlemen, this is my interview with Rich Kosak.
Okay, cool.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and members of the KISS Army, I am excited to have with us today Mr. Rich Kosak, who is the star child in one of the best, if not the best, KISS tribute bands out there, Mr. Speed. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thanks, Dick. I appreciate the time.
Now, listen, before we get into everything I want to get into, I always like to start. I want to know where it began. Take me back to the beginning. Were you always into music? Were you always a KISS fan, or how did this get to where it is today?
My earliest memories of music started with Cat Stevens, his Catch Bullet 4 album, when I was a real young boy. From there, I heard Frampton Comes Alive for the first time, and I was just like, what is that? I had an older brother who got the album the year it came out. I started hearing it in his bedroom. I got it for my birthday in February of '76. I've been a Frampton fan ever since. So that was really the Peter Frampton, popped my musical cherry. I see him live. I get emotional when he plays Lines on My Face. And to be honest with you, even with his disease that he's got now, this musculature thing, the last two tours I've seen with him have been the best I've seen in my entire life. The guy is just, he's so inspirational. But that's where my musical thing happened. My father sang barbershop music for over 40 years. And I have that same older brother is a classically trained guitarist, and he's a teacher of music and guitar in Minneapolis. So there was a lot of music in our home growing up.
So high school band, that sort of thing, you and your buddies,
Actually, I quit the basketball team in 11th grade to pursue my high school band. The band was called Lord Rock. What a dumbass name. We were prepping for a world tour in 1981, man. We really were. And we were so horrible. I've got video proof of it. We did two assemblies. We did two assemblies in my senior year, and one of them is on videotape. And it's really awful. We had no harmonies, no stage presence, no nothing. But I do have that souvenir.
That's awesome, man. So you had the idea, you wanted to do it, right? And you realized you had to get better at it. But so what's the time frame from those bands to when you were exposed to KISS?
Oh.
And then how long did it take for you to get into the tribute stuff? Because it had to have been, you said 30 years you've been doing this, right?
Yeah, almost 32. It'll be 32 years on the 24th of this month that we played our first show. So It started a little bit before that. We prepped for about a year before we did the first show because we didn't know our ass from a hole in the ground about what we were going to do. Back then, there were just a handful of KISS tribute bands. But anyway, I became a KISS fan right around 76, 77. A young boy moved onto into our block. He was from the Philippines, and I didn't realize like that's a factor in my world because to me, he was just another kid on the street. I didn't realize he had just moved to the United States 4 years earlier, was living in this aluminum hut in the Philippines. And here he is with a KISS poster on his bedroom door. And I was like, we became friends. He took me over to his house. He said, let's listen to some records. I saw the poster. Not long after that, I saw KISS on the Paul Lynde Halloween special.
Yeah,
that was really that was the thing that really just blew my mind. And then I saw the commercial for the KISS radio. Not long after that, I remembered it was a bright, sunny Saturday afternoon where that commercial came on. I was watching TV, and when it exploded, I was like, "What is going on here? What's this KISS thing?" Like I couldn't get enough of it, and I started going to my local record shop and hanging out, buying albums. I was stealing money and buying KISS albums when I was a young boy. I mean, I was a delinquent, trust me. But I became a KISS fan in 76. I played in one high school band. I went to high school from 79 through 82.
Oh, we're about the same age. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm 62 years old.
I'm 61 in July, yeah.
And when I graduated high school, I played two shows with a band of older guys that I looked up to in my high school. One in that summer, we played 2 shows at a drive-in. It was So That Thing You Do, the movie with Tom Hanks.
Oh, yeah.
We had a real live Villa Pianos, man. I was there, and I think for the 2 nights I may have made $35 for the 2 nights combined, which is really, excuse me, it's really I love that story because I'm completely grounded in what I do. And the money that I make nowadays, I'm grateful for every goddamn penny that comes into my pocket because I have seen the shittiest of times, and I've been able to work through all these years through multiple personalities and people. I know I'm getting off point, but I could talk about this for days because I've been, like I said, it's been a minute since I started this thing with Mr. Speed. And I started the band with a guy that I met at a Pittsburgh record show. He was flipping through a Kiss book. I happened to look over his shoulder. I made a comment. We exchanged phone numbers that day. Turned out he was a guitar player. He was much better than I was. He taught me a lot of little parts on how to play the Kiss songs because he really loved that aspect of it. He was a gearhead. And once he left the band became mine. And I really just took the reins, took the ball,
Right.
and I just ran with it. I learned as I went. So as I said, we played our first show June 24th, 1994 at what used to be a very famous club in Pittsburgh, which is where I'm from. It was called The Decade.
Okay.
And here I am 32 years later talking to you about something that I never thought would last this long, honestly.
Yeah, well, I think it's kudos to you and the guys that you're with because, I'm a Kiss fan. I've been a Kiss fan since I was 10. I've seen tribute bands, and some of them you just shake your head, right? I mean, you being
Yeah.
as good as you guys are, like, I just sometimes wonder, okay, what are you trying to accomplish here? Because you're not tributing the band. You're
Right?
it's craziness to me. So,
It,
I mean, so
it's almost like mockery.
yeah,
It's almost like mockery to me because here we are in 2026, Dick, and the guys that want to be in a Kiss tribute band have the best of everything. They've got the internet, they've got YouTube,
right.
they've got all this stuff. And we saw a photo of a guy last week, and this is no shit. And I don't know who this guy is. And I'm kind of making fun of him, but he was having somebody put his makeup on outside, and he literally was wearing the things that you go down a baking aisle in a grocery store that you'd make a loaf of banana bread in, those little aluminum tin things.
Yeah.
He had taken those and he had flattened them out, and that was his chest protector. And then he had them on his legs. And I'm thinking to myself, dude, first of all, it must take some real balls to go out in public looking like that, knowing how how abrasive society is with criticism. I mean, we have our handed to us daily about our band, and we're seriously trying to do the best we can. And people still have a problem with Mr. Speed.
Well, Rich, I mean, there are people who just like to talk to hear themselves speak too, and there are negative, half glass empty people that are always going to find shit to talk about. But
Absolutely.
honestly, and I'm gonna put when I do post, I'm gonna put a clip up if that's okay with you guys as a lead in. When people
course.
see the shit that you guys are doing, man, and again, from a non-Kiss fan, I guess they're not gonna see the excellence that you guys are. But from any Kiss fan who sees a Mr. Speed clip is gonna have to admit that it is top notch. At least in
It's
my eyes.
almost, yeah, it's almost like, and I appreciate that. And I know my bandmates do too. I'll speak for them. It really is amazing to me. Kiss gives us the blueprint to do everything. I mean, they've done it. We've got the magazines, we've seen them live, we've got the posters, we know how to replicate it. It literally boils down to effort with these
Right.
Kiss guys. And I personally know a lot of them, they are just lazy and they don't want to put in the effort. And they don't want to be, all they want is the money and the attention. That's all they want. And they don't give a crap about the integrity of their band, let alone themselves, and the
Right.
legacy that is Kiss. And if they got a problem with me saying that, they know how to find me. Here I am. I'm not ashamed of it, and I'm certainly not going to run away from it because I've played in the same building where Kiss is. I've had Kiss's manager come up to me and tell me how good he thought we were as recently as Las Vegas. And you can see that thing over my shoulder that I had framed. That's my souvenir from us being involved in the Kiss thing last year. Man, it really boils down to how bad do you want to do it? And it starts here. We're all Kiss fans, Dick. So we make the band that we want to go see. It's just like Kiss did. They created the band that they wanted to go see live. We do the same thing.
So now in the tribute artist world, is there a camaraderie, or is there a healthy competition, or is there certain bands that there's a disdain for? I mean, do you all get along, or is there, just like in real life, a bunch of bullshit?
Yeah, no. It is so cutthroat, and it's been that way since the dawn of time, since the dawn of Kiss tribute bands. That's not to say that there aren't guys that I respect. They respect us. And I love these guys as friends. And I'll cite one band in particular, Kiss Forever Band over in Hungary. We did a competition with them in 2012 out in Vegas. Those guys couldn't have been sweeter as people and as a band. And I'm still friends with them 14 years later. But there are also guys out there that really think they're Kiss. I mean, these guys live and breathe it. They make comments about it. They make claims that aren't true. No, there's no Kiss tribute band on this planet that is officially endorsed by Kiss. If they tell you that they are, they're lying right to your face. Kiss just doesn't endorse anybody. I mean,
and now they can't. They can't now, though, right?
No, I mean, they don't. I mean, Pop House owns them. I mean, there isn't a day that I wake up, pull my head off my pillow, and I'm not grateful for the fact that I'm not getting a phone call about all the copyright infringement, all the trademark infringement that we are infringing upon every single day by being Mr. Speed. Because none of this stuff is us. We didn't create any of this Kiss thing. They did. It belongs to them. And I'm not foolish enough to think that they can't stop me at a moment's notice, and all of this will be a memory. So Mr. Speed is a band that works on the premise of how grateful we are for every single opportunity that we get, whether it's playing this past Saturday in Cambridge City, Indiana, for this little Mayberry town. And that's a quote straight from the woman who hired me. We gave those people our best effort. And now tomorrow night, we fly to Little Rock, Arkansas, and we're playing a sold-out show. 650-seat theater is sold out. I just found out last night. That, to me, is crazy, Dick, because we've never been there. We're not from Arkansas. And somehow our band inspired these people to pay their hard-earned money to come out and see our show tomorrow.
Yeah. Now, is this a full-time gig for you guys, or is it part-time?
I'm the only one in the band that does Mr. Speed full-time. The other three guys, Shane, Rich, and Mark, all have full-time careers.
Now, how long have you been with those three? How many different, and this sounds silly, how many different Genes, Aces are, and I like that you guys do the Eric too. I like that. Do you swap out with Peter, or?
No, people want us to do that. We won't do it. We paid tribute to Peter for 28 years.
Right.
And when the last guy in the band who was the Catman quit, I wanted to make a change. And I believe change in life is really good for whatever it is that you're doing. If you keep doing the same thing, it's the definition of insanity. And I don't really like to live with that. So Rich was the only interview that I had. He asked if he wanted me to do Peter Criss, and I said, no, I want Eric. And incidentally, for those of you who don't know, Eric's sister Loretta sent a letter for telling us and giving us the right to pay tribute to her brother Eric in our band. So I don't need anybody's opinion on whether they like it or not. I've got Loretta Caravello's and the Caravello family's stamp of approval to do what we do. I've been probably through, I'm just going to say for the sake of conversation, 15 Genes, 15 Peters. I'm on my third Ace. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
and I'm the only guy
That's
since day one.
15. That's crazy.
Oh, easy, easy. And Dick, it's probably more. It's probably more. And every single one of these cats has a story attached to them for one reason or another. It's just like any other relationship that you enter into. They don't always work.
Do you remember? I remember a story, and I don't know if it was ever verified. There was a Gene tribute artist who lost. The rumor was he lost himself so much in the role. He's dead now, by the way. I think he wound up killing himself. There was a documentary about that Kiss tribute band. What was his name? Do you remember that?
I honestly do not know his name. The story that you're telling me is true. I've heard that story.
Okay.
We have two deceased members that have been in Mr. Speed.
Oh.
One because of alcohol and one because of drug use. They didn't kill themselves because they were in the band. They just had demons, and they're gone. There's other stories. There's sad stories from the Kiss tribute community about people that have, done awful things. I can't imagine. I'm in this industry because this brings me joy. It is being in Mr. Speed is a lot of hard work. It is literally 24/7, 365. But I love what I do, and the culture in our band right now is the best it's ever been. And what I mean by that is the people that I have surrounding me, my bandmates and our crew, we all get along. We love traveling together. We love being around each other. We respect each other, and everybody works for the common goal. And when you have somebody that isn't on board with that, they got to go. And I liken myself to a dentist. Sometimes you get an infection in a tooth. I'm not fixing that tooth. I'm pulling it and I'm putting a new tooth in. Yep.
Do you guys hang out personally, the four of you, or is it just show and that kind of stuff? Is there barbecues? Is there a Mr. Speed barbecue?
No, there's not, because only Rich and I live here outside of Cleveland. Shane lives in Tampa, Florida, and Mark lives in Great Bend, Kansas, which is 2 hours from Wichita. So we don't hang out. And when we do hang out, it is literally at the shows. When we
so how do you rehearse then? How do you rehearse then if you're all? Oh, okay.
Everybody rehearses on their own.
I get it.
On the opposite side of this room that I'm talking to you from is my practice space. I've got my guitar set up over there, my little amp. Everybody works on songs. I will come up with a song here and there. I'll email it or text it to everybody. Work on this. When we get to a gig, we'll run sound check and we'll run the song through sound check. If it sticks, we'll put it into the show. The guys always fear that because they always need to be on their toes with me because, most guys in Kiss bands, they take the easy way out. They're not trying to do anything. We are better than average musicians in this band. And so I like to flex our muscle every once in a while and do things that are not only fun for us, but might tap into that 1% to 2% of the audience out there that has every Kiss record.
Right. How long does it take you to get into the Star Child persona and character? Like, do you have it down to a science where it's less time now than it was in the beginning?
Oh yeah. I'm about 75 to 90 minutes myself to get ready because I like it to be really, really well done. I like my lines to be straight. That's a whole nother discussion. You look at some of these people that put on Kiss makeup and you'd swear they're putting it on with the heel of a shoe. I don't understand, and some of the other guys like Mark and Shane, they take a little bit longer. If I gave them 4 hours, they would take every second of that 4 hours to put that makeup on. But sometimes I got to crack the whip because we have a job to do.
I was watching a clip of some tribute artist band, and it was Paul Stanley he didn't have even a wig on. It was his real hair, but it looked like Carmine Ragusa hair. Like it was like a short curly thing. And the makeup I don't know if it was the makeup they were using or the lighting of the show. It just looked horrible.
Well, welcome to my world. Welcome to my world. I mean, because I pay a lot of attention to who all is out there putting Kiss makeup on, because it's my job. I see an awful lot of things. And I've said this for years. I wish Kiss or Pop House would police these so-called tribute bands and would tell them, yes, you're allowed to. No, you're not. Even Paul, he was interviewed by Howie Mandel last
Hmm.
year, I think it was, for some podcast. He and David Arquette were on there, and Paul said,
Yes, I
there
remember.
there are people out there that they do it, from their heart, and there's a lot that don't. And
Mm.
this isn't me. This isn't coming from me. You can go ask Paul Stanley, and Paul Stanley will tell you to your face that there are people out there that make a mockery of being in a Kiss band, and that's just not who we are,
I think the way they look at it, though, at least if I had to surmise, like there's that saying, "There's no such thing as bad publicity."
right?
And if
Right.
their name is out there and the characters are out
Mhm.
there, I mean, they're not gonna pick and choose. It's just their Kiss is out there, so they're getting exposure that way. Not that they need exposure at this point, but
No, they certainly don't. But I would think I had a conversation years and years ago. I thought it would have been really cool if Kiss would have gotten behind like 3 tribute bands, one in Europe, one in the US, and one somewhere else, and basically just endorse those groups and let them do it to the best of their ability.
mhm,
So that fans could come and see something that
yeah,
they really couldn't criticize,
right,
because it had the backing of the real band. Kiss has just never really been about supporting tribute bands. And I've personally spoken to Paul. I met him in 2023 here in Cleveland at a meet and greet. And I took all these pictures of our band because I wanted him to see who we are.
mhm, mhm,
And I looked at him and I said, it's my understanding that you don't like Kiss tribute bands. And he looked right at me and he goes, it's not that I don't like Kiss tribute bands. I've just never seen a good me. And so I
oh
looked
boy,
back at him. Have you ever seen me? Now, granted, Dick, I'm 62 years old. I'm not making an excuse, but it's a little bit more challenging now to jump 4 feet in
oh,
the air on 7-inch platform shoes than it was when I was 33. Okay,
right,
that's the truth. I got a replaced right knee. I got a really bad low back. But I'm not making excuses when I get out there. And sometimes these fans, they don't know that. It's not really for them to know that because we have a job to do. We're being paid to do it. So I'm going out there and I'm giving you my A game every single time we take the stage. Whether
right.
you like that or not, my A game, that's up to you to figure out.
So I would assume then, so you're the taskmaster of the band, if I had to put a label on you. So
But
like if your gene is slacking, are you okay with saying to him, "Hey buddy, you know, yeah,
yeah,
someone has
yeah,
to do
yeah,
that,
yeah,
right?"
yeah. I mean, conversations as so much as we took a center microphone away that for Mark. Mark is 6'6", himself. Like, so when he puts the gear on, he's tall. He's a tall
Yeah,
guy. So he doesn't like, and he's a shy singer. So he doesn't really like sharing a microphone. But to be aesthetically correct, we can only have 2 up front. And so we adapt to things like that. I recently, just a couple weeks ago, had a conversation with Shane, our bass player, about vocally. I felt like he was pulling away from the microphone and not finishing phrases, well enough to complement the song. So to answer your question, I don't have a single problem stepping up to one of my people because first of all, I'm going to show them the respect and I'm going to have a conversation man to
right.
man. I'm not going to do it behind text. I'm not going to send a note in study hall. I'm not going to do anything like that. I'm going to say it to your face. Hey, let's try this because this is for the betterment of the band.
Right.
People label us, they call us a cover band. That's like a 4-letter word. We're not a cover band. You know, uh, there's guys have come and gone in this band. They were
Mhm.
treated with the utmost respect when they were in this band. If they choose to lie and bullshit on the street to people behind them, behind our back to make themselves look good, for whatever reason they left Mr. Speed, the best they ever had it was in Mr. Speed. And people in the Kiss tribute community, the members of these bands, they all talk. Okay. So if these guys think that they're saying something that they're getting away with and they
Right.
think that they're spewing the truth out there, they're not. And there are people that know the truth. It's just like people that used to work with this band that are no longer affiliated with the band. And they come up with this narrative about something that is absolutely 150% false, but they like to believe that they're right. And the fact of the matter is, they're on the outside looking in, and Mr. Speed is still moving forward. So it doesn't take a whole lot to figure out who's telling the truth and who's not.
Right. How long? how long was the genesis of that stage set? Because I can't imagine that's where you started with what you're doing. Because the stage set alone is amazing. That's got to cost, and I don't want you to put a number on it, but that's got to cost some bucks to do.
Well, you can do a lot with smoke and mirrors.
Okay.
As we're talking about a lot of these other bands, these Kiss style bands, that they do a lot with smoke and mirrors to get away with what it is that they're doing. There's a lot of aspects of our show and our stage set that are well constructed, well built. There are other parts of it that are a Monet. When you look at it from far away, it looks amazing, but you get too close and it doesn't look that hot. But it's all an illusion. You know, if we had the budget that, Kiss had, it would be sick. And between you and me, Dick, if I had the capital to make what we're doing bigger, I would do it. I just don't. I mean, my wife and I are so in debt for so much money. If I gave you the dollar amount, your jaw would hit the floor. But you got to spend money to make money.
Mhm.
And, I've had members of this band quit because they felt that we were investing too much money in this band to make it what it is. They thought, oh, this is getting too big. I don't want to be a part of it anymore. Okay, well then go. I'll find somebody else that wants to be a part of this big thing. For me, we're not big enough. I would love to do more, but I'll be honest with you, Dick. When we take what we have and put it into a theater, a beautiful theater with beautiful in-house action, you can't touch what we do. And a lot of them know it. And I'm super, super proud of that. I don't apologize for anything.
As you should be, as you should be. Do you have a favorite song that you like to do two songs. One that has to be in the set because of the Kiss fans, and one song that you want in there, and that's why it's in there.
Well, we don't do Unholy anymore, and that was always my favorite, like, obscure vault track to play, because the guitar style is so different from Shout It Out Loud, from Rock and Roll Night. It's just totally different eras. And it's just a super cool song. The harmonies that I got to sing in that song were great because they were high up there, and I enjoy that. A song that we have to play all the time that maybe I wish we didn't, that would probably be Rock and Roll All Night.
I'm a Kiss fan. And that gets tiresome sometimes.
Yeah, it's funny to me. We'll play 19 songs in a 90-minute show, and someone inevitably comes up to us at the meet and greet afterwards and says, "Oh man, I really wished you'd played this."
Right.
I know. Me too. But we only have so much time. We're contracted to play from here to here, and then it's done. Right. And I can only do so many songs, so I have to make the 69-year-old person happy. I got to make the 9-year-old kid happy. I got to make the 49-year-old guy happy. And that's what we try to do.
Yeah. Is there a deep cut that you like to throw in there that's you're a fan of that probably the normal person wouldn't? What is that one?
Yeah. Well, right now we're doing a song off of Unmasked called She's So European.
Let me hit you, Vegas.
Oh yeah, I love that song.
And I absolutely love playing that song, just because it's so different. And people shit on the Unmasked album and that whole era. And funny too, Dick, that's the era that we represent. When Kiss was
Right.
on fire and going down. Like the band was fractured and they weren't even playing in the US. What does Mr. Speed do? Hey, we're going to do that era because for a couple of reasons. Nobody else is doing it because it's too hard. You can't pull what we're doing out of a bag except for one costume. And that's the jean costume.
Right.
And everything else, like our stage set, we had to make that ourselves. That was an investment. It took time, effort, and money to make that all look like it does. And if we can pull you into our world at a show and make you believe that you're seeing the best representation of Kiss from 1980, then we're doing our job.
No, you are doing your job. How about vocally? Have you always sounded like Paul, or are you doing a thing to sound like Paul? Like your natural singing voice, is it similar and then you just tweak it a little bit?
My natural singing voice is nothing like his. I try when I can to put Paul into my vocal thing, but I'm Rich and I know I can't be him. I don't have that. I know you talked to Billy May. Billy sounds an awful lot like Paul, when he sings because he's from the same city.
Yeah.
So he's got that born into him. And in that regard, he's lucky. But what I try to do is I try to do the little things the other guys aren't doing. I don't overpose. I don't pout too much. I do how I hold my guitar pick. I hold it underneath my pointing finger. And I, a lot of guys don't even do that. But I have singing ability. I enjoy singing. I run a series of my influential vocalists that I grew up listening to through my head while I'm playing. Those 5 people are Ann Wilson of Heart, Lionel Richie of the Commodores, Steve Perry of Journey, Michael Sweet of Stryper, and Paul Stanley of Kiss. Those people circulate inside my head when I'm singing. And I've told Ann Wilson of Heart that at a meet and greet back in 2013. And she looked at me and she goes, "How do you contend with all that makeup?" It was a funny exchange.
I like how you mentioned Lionel Richie. I'm a big Commodores fan too, and a Lionel Richie fan. Fantastic. And he still sounds great.
I've been to Tuskegee. I've been to their rehearsal space. I can send you pictures of holding Lionel's costumes from 1977.
That's awesome.
My God. We need to talk about that when this is over.
Yeah. Okay. No, listen, we could do a part 2 of that too. We could do an old Commodores.
Oh, please. I'll do my best to get an ex-security member who I'm friends with that lives in Tuskegee to join us on that call. And if he would do that, that would be a heck of a chat.
That's awesome. How about your musical taste, Rich? Is it a finite, or is it expanses all over the place? Because that's, for me, that's what I listen to everything.
Yeah, I go back to 70s arena rock, 70s. My guilty pleasure lately over the past few years has been Steely Dan. Growing up, I just didn't see it, but right now I can't get enough of those guys. And the Asia album, note for note, from you drop the needle till you pick it up, is just a masterpiece. So there's a band called New England that I saw open for Kiss in 79. Yep. I'm friends with those 4 guys. I'm really good friends with John Fannin. John and I talk all the time. John's actually going to work with me on one of my original songs here within the next year, where I'll go to where he lives and we'll record at his home, which is a huge thrill for a kid like me.
Right.
But the Commodores, Heart, Peter Frampton, New England, Journey, Stryper, Night Ranger, Triumph, Rush. Those are like my top 10 bands. Cheap Trick,
Yeah.
You know, I even went through a Christian music phase. You could throw in Michael W. Smith. You can throw in Amy Grant. Um, you know, God, music is really the fountain of youth for me. This band has helped me to stay young in my heart and my head at 62 years of age. The body might not be holding up so hot, but the mind is definitely
I
uh,
feel you there, Rich. I really feel you
young.
there. Yeah. Listen,
Sure.
in here, I'm still 16. And
Yeah, absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
I'm reminded of that by friends and family quite often too. So, um,
Don't be ashamed of that, Dick. Don't
I'm
be
not.
ashamed of that.
I am not.
Be
I'm
that
not.
be that
What
freak.
are your That's right. What are your thoughts on the music industry today? Um,
Sucks.
yeah.
Sucks.
Okay. In a
It sucks
nutshell.
out loud. I'm not a fan. I'm not up on it. I don't like what I'm seeing. Um, you know, I think this whole thing of creating music, without playing instruments, this AI thing. God, I hate AI. I'm not. I don't get anywhere near it. Maybe the closest I get to it is if I have to look something up online, and just
Right.
by default, that's what does it for me. Yeah, but
'Cause
I don't.
yeah.
But Dick, I grew up when I was young. I worked for a national record retail chain in Pittsburgh,
Right.
and then I went and worked for a family-owned Music One Stop, which was a warehouse, and we shipped out to mom and pop stores. You
Hmm.
know, uh, all up and down the East Coast. And then I worked 3.5 years for Universal Music as a field marketing rep. So I saw the music industry from a teenager when I was buying 8 tracks, cassettes, vinyl, 45s. I worked up all through that. I was lucky enough to be born in 64 when I got to experience that first wave of vinyl
Yeah.
and the record industry as it was. Um, and what I see now is just it's not even it's the polar opposite of it. And I miss it. It was 3.5 years working for Universal Music was great, but at least I had the experience. So
Yeah, I miss vinyl too, and more not even the vinyl, the liner notes, the album covers, the backs, the sleeves. There's none of that anymore, and I'll be honest, I sold all of mine. I had, we had LPs, then you had to get cassettes, then you had to get CDs, and I almost went down the rabbit hole of DAT. Do you remember that? Digital audio
oh
tape?
yeah, yeah.
But
I
that
never
didn't
touched
go.
that.
It didn't go
No,
anywhere though anyway, so but
no.
now
But let me,
everything.
yeah, like to your point, Dick. I can remember having a girlfriend in high school. I would pick her up after her shift at this local five and dime, and but I stopped at my record shop on the way to pick her up. And I can remember one night buying REO Speedwagon's "Good Trouble" on
Mm,
vinyl. Went to her house, hung out that night. Got home. I probably got home 11:30, quarter to 12 at night. Went into my bedroom, put my headphones on, put that album on because I could not wait to listen to that record. That was the most important thing to me at that moment in my life. So kids today don't know what that's like to sit there and stare at that 12 by 12. And then if you were lucky enough to get art on the inside, on the
right.
sleeve,
Yeah,
God
yeah.
damn, you could stare for hours. For
Yeah, and
hours.
the other thing they're missing, like the local record store where I grew up in New Jersey, was a hangout. Not only you didn't only go there to buy records,
Oh,
you
yeah.
you were there to talk to everybody, talk
Mhm.
about rock and roll, talk about what you're buying, and you were in there for 2 hours sometimes.
Yep. Yep. That is a
There's
fact.
none of that now. None of that now.
No, no. And because my little record shop, it not only sold the music, but it also sold the magazines. So on one half of the store, it was newsstands with all the Kiss magazines, Hit Parader Circus, Cream, Grooves,
Right.
what have you. And then on the other side was all the vinyl. So literally, to your point, hours upon hours, days after days, standing in that. That was my Valhalla.
Yeah, and I have this story too, and it would never happen nowadays. So, I did frequent that store a lot, so I knew all the guys who worked there. I remember the day Poison's debut album came out,
Yeah.
and I didn't have the money. I was just there talking, and the guy goes, "Hey, listen, the album came out. Do you want one?" I said, "Dude, I don't have the money right now." He let me leave with the record. He goes, "Take it home, listen to it, come back and pay me." Now, you think that would happen nowadays? No.
You can't even get friends to lend you albums probably these
That's
days,
probably right.
let alone have some retail clerk let you walk out with something. That's
Well,
an
I think
awesome
back
story.
was that a marketing thing? Like, just to get me, I don't know. Be nice.
No,
Like almost like
I
a
think the
drug
guy
dealer.
was, he was just being super cool.
Yeah, yeah. Almost like a
Super
drug
cool.
dealer. First one's free. First one's free. And then
Yeah, yeah.
any love
Yep.
or hate for Taylor Swift? What's your thought on Taylor? I think she's extremely talented. Not you shaking your head?
Oh, oh my God. No, I,
Really?
my bass player's wife is a Swiftie. He razzes me all the time. We have little, uh, skirmishes, in the dressing rooms about Taylor. If his wife comes on the road, she and I go at it. You know what? With all due respect, she's created something that is phenomenal. It's a dream, and she's making a lot of people happy with her music. So God bless her. What I don't appreciate about her is her showing up and being the center of attention on sports,
Mhm.
and the teams using her as a weapon, for popularity contest or something like that. But that's not for me to say. I'm just not a fan. I'm not. It goes deeper than that, but that would result in me shit talking somebody because there is a member of her band that used to be in my band.
Get
That's
out.
fact.
Really?
Oh,
Get
that's fact.
which character?
Yep. Gene.
Oh, look at that. That's
Gene.
cool. Well,
Mhm.
I mean, is that why he left the band, or did that happen after he left?
He got involved after he left Mr. Speed. He was in Mr. Speed for just almost a year. He played 3 shows with us, and the stories just surrounding that guy
Okay.
is a whole another interview.
Now you mentioned recording original music. Is that still a passion for you, or is it just something on the peripheral of what you're doing? You that's something you really want to do?
Oh my God, yeah. I'm actually working on my 6th song right now. It's taking the longest for me to do this song. I've titled it "Monkey See, Monkey Do" because that's the world we live in. There's no originality. There's no, and that's funny coming from a guy who's copying another band to make money, right?
I'm
Um,
glad you see the irony in that. Yeah.
yes, I see the irony. It's very heavy, but it's just I love the creative process. Getting back to your
Mhm.
previous question, creating something from a simple riff or from a phrase or from an experience. The pandemic gave that to me. 2 things I took from the pandemic was learning how to read and appreciate reading and creating my own music. So I've got 5 songs on Apple, uh, iTunes, Spotify, whatever it is right now. And then the 6th one is called Monkey See, Monkey Do. It's the drums are actually being tracked this week, either tomorrow or Friday by my friend John Humphrey, who plays drums in a band called Seether.
Oh, I remember
Um,
Caesar.
yeah, John is a real good friend of mine, huge Kiss fan. John is just an all around beautiful person. I've known John since my days working at Universal Music. We met when he was in a band called the Nixons, and they rolled up to a club called Metropole in Pittsburgh in their camper. And now he's touring with a band called Seether and playing big shows all over the world. Um, Originally, I was hoping to have Dax Nielsen from Cheap Trick track drums on it, but Dax had to step away from my song because he's got entirely too much else going on. Now imagine that I'm just a punk from Pittsburgh, and I say to Dax
Right.
Nielsen one time at a show, "Would you ever?" And he goes, "Sure." And I was like, "What?"
That's awesome. Now,
That's pretty cool.
is it
Huh?
released under your name, or do you have a different name for
No,
the
it's under my name. Yeah, it's I want to be me. I'm not, pseudo Paul Stanley or something Paul or whatever these guys want to call themselves. I'm Rich. I'm Rich Kosak. That's who I am. That's
Now,
who I was born into.
I'm gonna check that out. I like the vibe that you give off, and I think and so your style would be all those people that you mentioned before. Would it be in the guise of that, or is it your own?
No, I think it is. A lot of people really liken my stuff to 80s. I did grow up through the 80s, but it's not hair metal. I don't finger tap. I'm not a shredder.
Right.
I'm a melody guy. If you can't whistle it, it's probably not going to come out of my brain. Um, I want you to listen to the song Celestial Guy, which was the second song I ever did. That's my
Okay.
homage to Ace Frehley. And I had hoped at one point to have Ace actually hear the song and record it. Everybody's got a dream. That was
Right.
mine.
Right.
I have sent that song on to Steve Brown from Trickster, and Steve has listened to that song. said he was putting together a couple of Ace tribute records, and I said, "Hey, man, if you could give my song a shake, it'd be really cool." But I took the approach, Dick, that it was Ace writing the song. I put myself in Ace's person and wrote the song and sang the song lyrically as if I was Ace.
Right.
And you'll have Ace's laugh from Kiss Meets the Phantom on the outro, and you'll also have the audio from Apollo 13. Houston, we have a problem.
Okay.
Also,
I'm gonna check that out. Now you mentioned Ace. That's a good segue. How tragic was that ending thing, right? I mean, you never would have thought that. I mean, unless we're not getting the truth, I don't know. I mean, who knows? I mean, if the story we got was actual, I don't know. But either way, it's tragic.
I was always thinking ahead in my life. How would I react when a member of KISS passes? How is that going to impact me? I had no idea. It hits me now. I had no idea how that was going to hit. Yeah, it was fucked up. It's fucked up.
No,
because those dudes saved my life. They gave me the home that I'm in. They gave me this band that I take around the country and play for people. And you can call me a pussy all you want for getting emotional about it, but KISS saved my life. It's estranged me from my family. I'm divorced because of KISS. I'm remarried because of KISS. There's a lot of shit surrounding this band that has touched my life. So when you take a piece of that away, that impacted me more than not speaking to my family, which is a fact.
Right.
As I sit here and talk.
Yeah, it hit me too because like you meant, same with me. KISS was I could name a milestone in my life and tie KISS to every single one of them.
God. Wow, cool.
So and we're getting to that point now. Ace is gone. They're at that age at any time.
Yeah.
And I was almost prepared for it because my mom was always an Elvis fan, and I was brought up on Elvis Presley.
Wow.
And I got to live through when he passed in 1977. And even I was 12 at the time. Or 15, 16. That hit me hard too. Yeah, I can't do math in my head, Rich.
Don't ask me. That's why I play in a band.
I'll ask ChatGPT how old I was. I'll put it up on the screen. His passing hit me hard, even though I was a kid. Aces hit me hard, and I think when Paul and this is going to sound bad, I love Peter too, but I think Paul and Gene would hit me the hardest because I identify with both of those guys the most out of the band.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. But isn't that cool that we have that emotion as humans and as fans, that we can hold something so dear and love something so much? My family growing up thought that my fascination with KISS and the posters on my walls and ceiling was so foolish. And they just didn't get it in a very early age, just like you, I'm sure. We found escapism in this band. And in all the bands that we listened to. Just KISS took it to that I mean, they put you out in a different solar system on an island where you felt safe and you felt like you could do anything you wanted to do.
Yeah. And my mom did a very cool thing because she was an Elvis fan and she collected Elvis memorabilia. Growing up, when they gave me a KISS thing for Christmas or birthday, they bought 2.
Oh man.
Gave me one and put the other one aside. So and then later on she goes, "Look, here, this is all the stuff." So I had pristine collectibles, which I wound up selling. Then you get married, have kids, and
is the operative word in that sentence had?
I had a pinball machine.
But so did I. I sold mine for a cracked mirror Ibanez PS10.
Yeah, well, that's my daughter had to get to Florida for cheer championships, so that's when the pinball machine was sold. So, but what are you gonna do?
Please make up something. If you ever tell me that story again, make up a better reason.
Yeah, well, listen, she's my daughter. She wanted to go. Listen,
I know. I'm just joshing you.
You do anything for your kids, man. Yeah. Where do you see the touring schedule? Do you have a set tour when you guys go, or is it we got a show here. We got to go. We got to.
Yeah. I mean, we get work, excuse me, work comes to us, Dick, and it's not that I'm not actively seeking work on my own, but at this stage of my career, people reach out to us and say, we're interested. What is it going to take? And then that's how I negotiate our shows. I've dabbled with some agencies. I lost a year with this woman out of New York City. It was an absolute waste, colossal waste of time. And so, if you want something done right, do it yourself.
Right. Okay.
There's a reason why that saying was created. So I've been fortunate so far this year. We've been to Palm Springs. We've been to Wisconsin. We've been to Kentucky. We've been to New Hampshire. We've been to Rhode Island. We were in Indiana, and now we're going to Arkansas. So our first seven shows this year have all been in different states. And that's
awesome.
Eric Singer told us a number of years ago, you got to go where the work is. You can't sit around and wait for, MSG to call you, because that ain't going to happen. It really isn't. Would I love to have an agency get on board and do like a 70s tour, say of like House of Blues? So they take three bands. They take a Kiss band, maybe I don't know, AC/DC or somebody else, and put these three bands and tour it around and let it play 15 House of Blues locations around the country. Right. That would be awesome. Nobody ever wants to do anything cool like that. So rewinding back to your question early on in this chat about, is there disdain? Is there camaraderie? There's so much disdain in the Kiss tribute world, because putting two Kiss tribute bands in the same room together is a recipe for disaster. More often than not, no one gets along because everybody thinks they're better than the others, and everybody's got an axe to grind, or everybody, doesn't look at it the same way. So, I wish we had an exclusivity with an agency, but we don't. So I work really hard every single day to get us the shows that we get. And again, that's why we're super grateful for the ones that we have. We don't sit back and go, oh, we're going to play this band show once a year, and that's going to be our big show, and then we'll filter in some other stuff. No.
You ever hear of a cover band called Hairball?
Oh yeah.
So Dave Moody is right. He's the lead guy, and I don't know how he does this. He does Gene, he does Brian Johnson, he does Twisted Sister. Is that all in one show, or how does he do that?
So here's the story. Here's the backstory on that. So back in maybe 2021, 2022, I got a phone call from the owner of Hairball, and he said, I understand you do Paul Stanley. We just had a Paul Stanley. Our Kiss guy just quit. Can you make it to Daytona, Florida, and fill in for the band as the Kiss guy? And I said, sure. Well, before he hung up the phone, he says, well, what about doing Vince Neil? And what about doing Brian Johnson? And what about doing Bret Michaels? And I was like, nope, I can't do that. I do one guy, and I do that to the best of my ability. So I went to Daytona. I played 3 shows during Bike Week with them at this one venue. Awesome. The guys were phenomenal, treated me great. We had a great time. I was paid well, came home. They reached out to me again. They're like, are you sure you don't want to do this thing? And I said, I'm really sure I don't want to do that, because I won't do your band justice. But I know a guy. And Dave Moody was the guy that I knew.
Wow.
So I got a hold of Mike, who is the owner of Hairball. And I said, you need to reach out to this guy, because he can do Brian Johnson. He can do a couple of other guys. And at that point, I don't even think Dave was doing D and some of the other people that he's doing. And so they flew Dave up to Minneapolis, auditioned him for two days. He got the gig. So then what does Dave do? Dave starts blowing me up. Rich, how do I get boots? Rich, can I trust this guy? Rich, how do you do your makeup? Rich, so Dave and I were real intimate there for a short while he was prepping himself to step into the Hairball role. So he called me one Sunday afternoon after he got the gig and just told me how much he appreciated the fact that I recommended him and I stuck my neck out for him, and that he got the gig. He wanted to thank me for that.
Yeah, no, and he does a good job too. His gene is really good, from what I've seen. The Brian Johnson is pretty. I mean,
Well, he was in Thunderstruck when
oh, he was.
he
Okay,
yes, he was the singer in Thunderstruck when he left that band to join Hairball.
got it.
And
How
my
that,
old bass player, one of my old bass players taught him how to blow fire outside of a gig in Kentucky somewhere. They met up and they did their little tutorial. That's how Dave
yeah.
learned how to blow fire.
Another interesting question. So in the tribute artist world, like how many? There's only a couple bands that could garnish a tribute band, right? I mean, there's not going to be a Europe tribute artist band, right? I mean, and that's no disrespect to Europe at all.
No, I know. I laugh every time I hear the song Cherokee because I'm thinking, what? Cherokee? Like, I don't know. What do they know about Indians? I don't know. It just seemed a little strange.
I
Um,
saw them. I saw them live back in the day, and I thought this was
oh,
funny. I always tell this story. They opened with the Final Countdown and closed with the Final Countdown. That was
that, that,
their
that's
set
weird.
list was so small that they had to open and close with the same song.
Yeah, that's weird. Yeah. No, I I always like to tell my Bon Jovi stories because I saw Bon Jovi open for Donnie Iris in Pittsburgh
Oh,
on his for the 7,800 degree Fahrenheit record. I was a huge Jovi fan for the first three albums. And once New Jersey came out, I kind of waned off because they got so big and they
yeah.
were just everywhere. So, yeah,
I remember
crazy.
seeing Bon Jovi on the Uncle Floyd show. I don't know if you know who that is.
I don't. I
Uncle
don't.
Floyd was a local cable little TV show here on the East Coast, and that was their
Yeah,
first
I've
mega
never
hit.
heard of that. Never heard of that.
Yeah, I'll look up the clip because it's very funny. It's like a
Okay.
small set, and they're playing live, and the audio is horrible. Um, so I wanted to get your opinion on this.
Sure.
Many singers were watching, and Paul Stanley was one of them. And I'm not trying to speak ill of Paul, but it's just a fact. Staying in the game too long,
Hmm.
not being able to sing to the level that we're all used to, or probably themselves used to. Vince Neil, Bon Jovi. Do you think they should stay in as long as the offers are coming in to make money, or do you think they should quit while they're on top?
No, I think this is why I have the utmost respect for Steve Perry because Steve respects his legacy enough to walk away from it and not listen to the narrative of the Journey worldwide fan base, whatever stories are being told behind the scenes. You and we're not fools, Dick. We know that we're not being told the truth.
Right.
They print things that they want people to hear to keep everybody happy and keep them at bay. You know, the real dope behind these stories, we're never going to know. So my respect for Steve Perry is and the same goes for Robert Plant.
All right. So you don't think I'm gonna go back to that question. You don't think guys like Vince Neil should? I mean, have you seen the clips of David Lee Roth live?
Oh, oh my! I feel so sorry for Van Halen fans. I really do. Yeah, that guy needs to stop. Write a book, do a book tour or something. But it's horrifying, horrifying. And I watch Michael Sweet, one of my biggest musical heroes in Stryper, talk about because he's such a Van Halen nerd. And he
Hmm.
talks about it. He's like, why is everybody dogging, David Lee Roth? Well, for good reason. For good reason. Okay, let's just call it what it is. David Lee Roth wasn't a great singer back in 1978. Hey, he
Correct.
wasn't.
No.
He was
Correct.
he narrated Van Halen songs. Thankfully, he had Eddie, Alex, and Michael in that band. He was just really a good-looking guy. Okay, and that's what his mark on Van Halen was. He was no singer. Come on.
No,
And
I'm with you.
so many people are afraid to say that because it's like, oh my God, you said you should talk David Lee Roth. You know what? Oh well. If the truth hurts, tough. But yeah, I just feel so bad for people that are Van Halen fans because I have a lot of friends who are Van Halen fans and they don't dig it.
Right.
So thankfully I was never that big of a fan, but Steve Perry and Robert Plant are the two legends in rock and roll history. that gracefully stepped away from their place in the world of rock and roll because they know they're no longer what they were when they were 30.
Right.
You know, they
So then,
can't do it.
so what's the dividing line of the person then? Because Bon Jovi's touring this summer. Bon Jovi can't hold the note anymore.
No, and
So
maybe
he's
maybe
doing,
they're gonna do what David Lee Roth did. He got 7 backup singers to sing all the harmonies, you know, to make himself
maybe.
sound good, so he could stand out there and suck air. You know, it's just really, you know, and the whole thing, the flipping the coat over. It was like when I saw Don Dokken open for
Oh,
Foreigner a couple summers ago. You know,
he
and
sat in the chair,
comes
right?
out. Well, he comes out with these layers of coats and shirts on. And it's like all he did was a slow strip tease because he's another guy that can't sing.
Yeah,
I
he
was
can't.
never I was never a Dokken fan. I like Breaking the Chains, the song. That was it. That's just me. But to have to pay money to go see him live and then do a slow strip tease, you know, while his band is up there playing their asses off,
There was one show,
just
Rich. He actually sat in a chair when he
yeah.
sang.
See, again, aside from Peter Frampton and BB King, if you are doing that to do what you need to do, then I think it's time that you find something else to do because life and time isn't going to stop. It's just going to keep moving. And you're either
Yeah.
going to get crushed by it or you're
Right.
going to get out of the way. You
Yeah, but
know?
the flip side to that, Rich, is like, and I'm going to use Paul again as an example. Yeah, I think the last 3-4 years, Paul couldn't sing to his expectations or our expectations, but the offers for them to play were still coming.
Yeah.
It takes
Yeah.
a very bold move to put that money
Yeah.
aside, especially when you have Gene in your other ear saying, "Take the money, take the money, take the money."
Yeah.
Like, I give
Yeah.
props to Steve Tyler. Steven Tyler, I give props to. He had the vocal
Yeah.
issues, and he even came out and said, "Listen, I can do 3 songs in a row, and that's it.
Yeah.
I can't do a
Yeah.
tour." So he stepped back. I think it's a very mature decision to make.
I have nothing but mad props for these guys that do step away from it like that, and they do understand. They don't want to burn their legacy. They don't want to make a mockery of what it was that they used to be, because we as music fans, we're holding on to that. You know, we're all
Right.
holding on to 18 really tight. You know, and you know, but by the same token, Dick, what do you think about Sebastian Bach singing in Twisted Sister?
Yeah,
He
that's to
can't
me, that makes no sense.
he can't even work out the Skid Row thing, which is where he belongs and which is what everybody attaches him to. So now you're going to go and you're going to be Dee Snider, who now Dee Snider is shit talking all the tribute bands in the world, you know,
Yeah.
for being non-creative garbage. Who are you, Dee, to say
Yeah,
anything
he's
about tribute bands when you're wearing makeup? Okay, that
let's
wasn't
not get
original.
let's
You
not
know, it
get
wasn't
crazy.
original. You
Dee
know,
Snider was not Lionel Richie, so,
no, he
and
wasn't. And that's why there's no tribute bands to Twisted Sister, because the back catalog can't substantiate it. Maybe
yeah.
he's pissed off about that.
Yeah,
You know?
he probably is. All right, Rich, where do you see yourself in 5 to 10 years? I mean, I know you said you're 62.
Mhm.
You've been doing
Yeah,
this a very long time.
I'm going to go probably I'm going to see what 65 looks like. I'm going to try and get to 65. As long as I physically can still sing and I could still
Mhm.
move and travel to do it. You know, because, all right, let's just say this. We don't have a road crew. We're our road crew.
Right. You're doing it all.
So yeah, so we're driving or flying to the shows. We're setting up, we're loading in, setting up, sound checking, makeup, show, meet and greet, clean up, load out, back to the hotel. Us, 6 of us. That's it. The other artists, these people that we've grown up looking up to, they've got people doing all of that work. Sure, they're still traveling and sure, they're still beating
Mhm.
up their bodies, but they're not doing the grunt work. Paul's not setting up his stage.
No.
You know, he's earned the right not to have to set up. He never did have to set up his stage, I don't believe. You know, so for that takes a toll on you. You know,
Mhm.
we have bad backs. We have other ailments and things like that because we're aging. We're not 30. So I want to try and see if I can get to 65 gracefully. But Only time will tell. And
Right.
again, if the culture within my band stays healthy, we still enjoy being around each other. We still enjoy traveling and experiencing this country. You know, here in Cleveland, my band kind of gets a black eye every once in a while because we do travel. And again, it goes back to that whole effort thing. A lot of guys around here, they want to go an hour from home and that's it. If they can't get a gig
Right.
within an hour, they don't play. I want to see this country because this band and KISS has given me the opportunity to do just that. So let's go out and see it. And you can't prove yourself, Dick, by playing for the same crowd every 4-6 weeks
Right.
at a venue. You can't. You have to go to Arkansas and you have to play for 650 people that have never seen you before. And our job on Friday night is to show those people the best KISS tribute band that they could hope to see. That's what I enjoy doing.
Ah, man, I want to thank you for taking the time to sit with me. I know you're busy, and again, I'm a big fan. Always love coming across your clips, and when I was watching to prep for this, you guys are in the top 2. I would have to say, I probably number 1 for me. But
Well, that's very kind of you.
visually and tonally, you guys are very, very awesome.
That's very kind of you to say. When I lug my Marshall JCM 800 onto the stage Thursday night, I'll think of you because the tone coming out of that thing is what you appreciate.
Awesome, man. Hey, thanks again, Rich. And
right.
we'll do this again. I want to do this again. And we'll do. If you said you could bring another person on. If you could, we could work that out. That'd be awesome.
If you want to do something that's not strictly KISS, if you want to,
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, I got a guy that if I could get him to join us, sure, it would be awesome.
All right, cool. That'd be awesome.
Yeah,
Thanks again, Rich. You enjoy the rest of your day.
Mr.
Don't go
Speed,
anywhere.
a night of KISS. 30 years in the making, 3 decades of anthems, celebrating all things KISS. A show that has it all, the sound and the fury, the fire and the thunder, creating an experience that leaves you wanting more. If you want to get kissed, there's only one KISS tribute that's gonna do it the way you want it. Mr. Speed. You never forget your first kiss, and you'll never forget Mr. Speed. Don't miss Mr. Speed, a night of KISS.